cell phone. I don't know where I got it.
Hey, John,
It made sense. It made sense that you use a cell phone.
you have Minox number?
No, I don't use this. But I sent a text the other day and I never got anything back. And I don't know if it got addressed.
That's Minox number. And that's the only one I have.
I thought dispatcher was. It's in my car. I can do it in your voice. I got 7:30.
Yeah. It could. Really? Ooh, geez, scared me. How are you doing? Okay. Pardon? You know what? I don't know. I heard that he was going to possibly step because he's in a drop. So he's only got what, 6 months left? Yeah. Yeah. So I think from what I understand, he's going to fulfill his
Yes.
the term, I would imagine, or whatever he's ready. I know that, you know, he likes old cars. And he's got that old, I don't know what he's got, but there's a car that he's got in his garage that has that he needs to finish.
Well, his neighbors, somebody else.
Yeah, Ellsworth. Yeah. So I know he's been talking about rebuilding it and finishing his car forever. He wants to do it himself. I would imagine Jim will probably do the paint and all that. He'll do the sanding and everything. It's a frame-off restoration.
I had them as my neighbors that worked out of my insurance company. And they said, yeah, we've got certain people in that name. Built the body shop. I said, that's on their list, the insurance company's list. I just thought it did special shit. I didn't know before.
Yeah.
It's on the body. I took it there. It was the same price, you know, the same deductible.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We called him.
Statute of limitations, look it up on all of them.
Yeah. Well, he was Turtle to us. Everyone called him Turtle. Yeah. So, alrighty. I'll talk to you soon. All right, we gotta roll. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
How are you? Okay. Okay, I'd like to call to order the North Canton City Council meeting, Monday, November 25th, 7 p.m. Mark, would you like to lead us? Sure. Would everyone please stand, please?
Hey, I'd like to. Sure. Tom, may I? Please.
Yes.
Please, more than welcome.
Fonte.
Lord, thank you for this opportunity to share with all the people in the community that showed up and the people that are online. And I'd like to say thank you for all the blessings that you bestow upon us and the opportunities to speak our mind freely, and that everybody has some downtime with their loved ones or family or friends during this Thanksgiving period. In God's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Nice job, Dom. Okay. Laura, would you mind calling the roll one last time?
Sure. Peters.
Here.
Revolt. Fonte. Weirin.
Here.
Kiesling.
Here.
Soretta.
Here.
6 present.
Thank you. May I have a motion to excuse Member Foltz? He will be joining us in progress.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, I have a motion and a second to approve as presented. Council meeting minutes, November 11th, 2019.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. And at this time, before we have recognition of visitors. May I have a motion and a second to add 5B to the agenda? We have Stark County Commissioner Bill Smith wants to come up and give us a quick update.
I motion we.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Smith. Thank you.
Thank you for having me this evening. I just stopped to do a visit. I've been doing my rounds around the county as I go along. It takes 35 different stops in the evening, so that's 35 evenings I'm not home, but that's okay. I enjoy doing them. So I just stopped to say hello. Also, you know, wish everyone a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, happy and healthy, okay, because that's very important as you get older like I'm getting, so it's like, you know, you want to be healthy. Also, I do worked pretty closely with Mayor Held in the Tri-County Solid Waste. And I don't know, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how all the elections came out, because I was always saying, I don't get that politically involved too closely, but I did, because he and I have worked together, I wish him well. I thank him for all he's done for North Canton and for Stark County, and I do wish the mayor-elect all the success in the world. And anytime, I'm available for any of you to call, and if you need me or need a question or have a question countywide, give me a shout. And if you need my card, I have plenty. And my personal cell phone's on all of them, so please, that's probably the best way to get a hold of me, so please don't hesitate to ever call, even if it's just a question or a concern. That's what we're here for. So, but any other questions you have? We're in the budget season, so, and I say the season of disappointment because there's going to be a few that'll be disappointed when they see the budgets roll out here in about a week and a half. But, you know, as you know, you only have so much to work with, and you have to try to dispense it as fairly as you can. So that's doesn't matter what that number is. Our number is quite large, but it still only goes so far. So, any questions from anyone?
Happy
Well,
Thanksgiving, Bill.
Happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. And like I say, stay safe and healthy. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay. At this time, if you wish to address council, please step forward, state your name and address for the record. There is a 5-minute time limit. Let's please keep it respectful and professional. Thank you. Mr. Osborne.
Chuck Osborne, 307 Fairview Street, Southeast, North Canton, Ohio. I must tell you, last week's council meeting was a first for me in my nearly 20 years of observing city council. I have never, ever seen a city employee speak up here and demand a salary increase. I'm speaking of Mrs. Farina, who was lobbying on behalf of herself, and the mayor chimed in, and city administrator. Mrs. Farina's position was advertised in the repository back June of last year. It cost the taxpayers of North Canton $734 to advertise the position. My research that I did last year, and I've just sat on it because I don't always get up here and criticize. I do try to have some discretion. But with what happened last Monday, I'm compelled to speak out. When that position was advertised last year, it was advertised as a Deputy Director of Administrative Services and Development. As I understand it now, that is not really the position that Mr. Diorio had prior, and there's a big difference between the position, in my mind, that Mrs. Farina has and what Mr. Diorio had when he came on board. Mr. Diorio was actually brought here in preparation for making him the city administrator. He has vast knowledge, vast experience. There's no comparison between Mrs. Farina and Mr. Diorio. So the argument that there's a gender bias in salary here, I think is totally unfounded. Something else I discovered last year, there were 12 applicants. Mrs. Farina apparently collected all the applications from all the applicants, which I think is a conflict, because she was an applicant herself. Not a single one of those applicants were contacted after they applied. I think it was a sham process and a waste of $734. I'll have a handout here for a few members of council. Can we expect other city employees to get up here and start arguing and lobbying for a salary increase? I think it was a sad day for North Canton to see that display. We've had resignations already here in the city. There was a resignation in the mayor's office shortly after Ms. Farina arrived, and now we're seeing 2 more. I don't know what's the root cause of these latest 2, but I do know that the earlier resignation was related to who filled the current position that Mrs. Farina has. I hope we don't see a display like that in the future. Council needs to be more engaged in what's going on and speak earlier and maybe not bring these kind of situations out in public. And I would expect somebody in the higher ranks who's already being paid a fairly good salary to have a little more discretion than to get up here and actually threaten the city with a gender bias argument. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone else? Larry?
Larry Tripp, 1127 East Maple, North Canton. On 11/20, the following email was sent to several members of City Council who will be effective on 12/3/19. As I wrote, often we ask ourselves the question, do we do it or do we not do it? For the betterment of North Canton City government, each of you will ask yourself these questions during the organization meeting December 2nd. Do we do it or do we not do it? On November the 5th, North Canton residents spoke loud and clear. North Canton Council members, you now have an opportunity to demonstrate to the city you heard their message by changing the leadership within the council chambers. No need to get into specifics, as all of us know the pitfalls this city government has endured the past 5 or 6 years, and now escalated to personnel issues the likes of which this city has never seen before. Leadership is not about being the best. Leadership is about making those around you better. This has not happened with the present leadership, so make the change and make this council and city government better. Oftentimes in council meetings, we hear of legislation being passed as let's try it. And if it doesn't work, we can change it. Like I said, current council leadership has not, is not, and will not work. So isn't it time for a change? I'm open for phone calls and questions. End quote. I think this is an issue within the government right now and should be addressed at your organizational meeting. Now, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and I'm wanted to thank, I think it's Kelly Hart, who put on the Veterans Day, am I correct? Who put on the Veterans Day ceremony on early November. a very, very nice presentation. Saw Mr. Soretta there. Pat, I saw you there, and I believe Kelly. And if our leadership of those young people that spoke that day is in question, it need not be. There were some very, very good young speakers, and the young lady that sang the national anthem was very, very good. So I was particularly impressed with one little boy that spoke, probably a junior high young man, who talked of the conflicts our country has had, starting with the Revolutionary War through 9/11, as I recall. And his final words were basically reaching the theme, don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. And I thought that was really super coming from a young kid. And like I said, just a really, really nice morning, though it was cold. It was cold. So that's all I have for tonight. Everybody have a good holiday and see you later.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, Larry. Okay. Anyone else wishing to address council? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to old business. Let the record reflect, Member Foltz has joined us.
7:07.
7:07, yes, thank you, Tim.
Yep.
May I have a motion and a second to read by title only, third reading, ordinance 68-19?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Tim?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of North Canton, upon Board of Control approval, to enter into a contract by and between the city of North Canton and the city of Canton for the purpose of providing legal representation in the Canton Municipal Court for the prosecution of criminal cases at a total cost not to exceed $22,000 per year for a period of 2 years beginning January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2021.
Thank you. Chairwoman Warren.
If there are no other questions, I move to adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. May I have a motion and a second to read by title only, second reading, ordinance 74-19?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Tim?
An ordinance repealing and replacing the City of North Canton's public record policy codified as Chapter 107 of the North Canton Codified Ordinances with the updated and most current policy and summarized poster attached hereto and incorporated herein as Exhibits A and B.
Yes, we had a couple committee meetings on this. Tim highlighted some of the changes in the last committee meeting. If there are no further proposed amendments, I'll entertain a motion and a second to adopt.
Motion to adopt. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I have a motion and a second to read by title only, third reading, ordinance 76-19.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Tim?
An ordinance amending ordinance number 50-03, zoning ordinance of the City of North Canton and corresponding tax map to change the zoning district of the parcel situated at the southwest intersection of East Maple Street and State Route 43, Stark County, current tax parcel number 1006600 from General Business District B2 to Parks and Institutional P&I.
Thank you. Chairwoman Keesley.
Yes, this is the zone change we've been speaking about, the old BP station out on Maple Street. I motion we adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. May I have a motion and a second to read by title only, third reading, ordinance 77-19?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Member Fonte abstains, 6 in favor. Tim?
An ordinance amending ordinance number 50-03, zoning ordinance of the City of North Canton and corresponding tax map to change the zoning district of two parcels situated at 330 Schneider Street Southeast, Stark County, current tax parcel number 9201852 and 9201853 from two-family residential to office building use.
Yes, thank you. Chairwoman Keesley.
Yes, this is the two parcels on Schneider. We had the public hearings for both of those pieces No issues with either of them. I motion we adopt.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Member Fonte abstained, 6 in favor. Motion approved. Okay, may I have a motion and a second to read by title only, second reading, ordinance 80-19.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Tim?
An ordinance to make appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of North Canton, Ohio for the period beginning January 1st, 2020 and ending December 31st, 2020, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Thank you. Chairman Kiesling. Or, I'm sorry. Chairwoman Warren.
Laura, anything you want to comment on this?
Sure, just from the version that you guys had at the last meeting, there are two changes. One is Fund 209, Storm Sewer Levy. That was simply a formula error that was picked up when I went to enter it in the software system. So that's been corrected on page 1. And then the second one is in Fund 330, Capital Improvement. We added $10,000 for the police SRO radios that needed to be added to the patrol cars. Those are the only two changes.
Okay.
Motion to amend ordinance number 80-2019 pursuant to the comments from the Director of Finance and for the purposes of identification. The ordinance we would vote on amendment is the one that has as the total appropriation $45,326,058.67.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. May I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules of council for 3 readings for ordinance number 80-19 as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Hold on
Are
one
you,
second.
are you looking to pass this on an emergency? The budget? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, that was the intention.
The,
Do you need it to be?
it was anticipating that the mayor-elect would have an opportunity to review the budget
Okay.
before its final passage,
Okay.
whatever council wishes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there a second on that motion, or we'll just let it
We did
go?
table it or sit tight?
I would move that we adopt a second reading of ordinance 80-2019 as amended with its emergency clause contingent upon a third vote after December 2nd.
Sounds like a good motion to me. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Pat. Okay, on to new business. May I have a motion and a second to read by title only, first reading, ordinance 81-19.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Tim?
An ordinance authorizing the vacation of 116.5 square foot portion of the existing water line easement on Lot 175 in St. Ives, number 6 allotment in Lake Township, as recorded in the plat, volume 59, pages 64 to 65 of the Stark County Plat Records, as fully described in Exhibit A attached here too.
Thank you. Chairman Serrata.
Yeah, we talked about this. Rob was here last week. It was a little sliver that was encroaching on someone's land, and they had a hard time getting finance for it. Rob felt that we could vacate a piece of that so that person can get to where he needs to get to. So I would move, if there's no other questions, that we approve this in the first reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, may I have a motion and a second to read by title only, first reading, ordinance 82-19?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Tim?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of North Canton to enter into a contract by and between the city of North Canton and the Stark County Public Defender's Office for the purpose of providing legal counsel to indigent North Canton residents in Canton Municipal Court for a period of 1 year commencing January 1st, 2020 and ending December 31st, 2020, declaring the same to be an emergency.
Thank you. Chairwoman Warren.
Yeah, this is something that we do every year, and we talked about it in committee last week. Any other questions or concerns? Okay, if there aren't any, I move to adopt. First reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and we are doing this on emergency.
Looks like it.
Motion and a second to suspend the rules of council for 3 readings, ordinance 82-19.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And finally, a motion and a second to adopt under suspension of the rules.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. We have a motion and a second to read by title only, first reading, ordinance 83-19.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Tim?
An ordinance authorizing the supplemental appropriation of funds of the city of North Canton to be appropriated from the unappropriated resources of the general fund and the garbage service fund within various budget line items for current expenses during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Thank you. Chairwoman Warren.
Oh, right, sorry. So I was like, again. Sorry, I was looking at 82, I'm like, we just did that one. Sorry about that. Laura, anything you want to talk about this in the garbage?
This is just cleanup of line items for the end of 2019, as we
Okay.
talked about last week.
Okay.
Any other issues, concerns?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And we have a motion and a second to suspend the rules of council for 3 readings.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And finally, a motion and a second to adopt under suspension of the rules.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, may I have a motion and a second to read by title only, first reading, ordinance 84-19.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Tim?
An ordinance accepting a record plat of the Sanctuary Number 4 located within the corporate limits of the city of North Canton and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Thank you, Chairman Fonte.
We talked about it last week. It's 11 lots or 21 lots they have over there. New phase, 2 new roads, new curb, gutter, utilities, contingent on the law director and everybody agreeing with everything. So I move we pass the reading on an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion and a second to suspend the rules of council for 3 readings.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And finally, a motion and a second to adopt under suspension of the rules.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Reports, Deputy Director of Administration.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think I just need to briefly respond to the comment that was made by Mr. Osborne. I appreciate your opinion. You mentioned, first of all, on my position, as opposed to, the Director of Administration, Patrick Giora, that there's no comparison between the two. I think we both bring something to the field. I mean, there's obviously you can compare us. I mean, Patrick does have much more governmental experience. I also bring over 20 plus years in human resources, human capital management, handling regulatory compliance areas in FMLA, ADA, FLSA, and I think that's what makes us a good team. I think Patrick does have the government side, and I have the people side, and the city does run with people. So bringing that to the team, I think we can both have a good perspective and a good work relationship on that. The other thing you did mention, and I agree, you said that, you wish that council would have had more discretion in not bringing this out into the public. I do want everyone to know I had no idea that my salary was going to be a topic of discussion at last week's meeting. I was a little taken back and wondering perhaps why an executive session wasn't called, but it was there. And I do want it to be known that, I was not, demanding a salary increase. I did not even actually start that conversation. I didn't broach the topic of the gender disparity. It was first mentioned by the Director of Administration, and I was simply concurring with that. And that's the direction, that it went from there. You made references to resignations happening at the city, and, keep in mind, voluntary resignations are adult decisions made by adult people, and people choose to leave employment all the time and for various reasons. I don't know why that seems to be being linked to anything related to me. People do move on, and all 3 were voluntary resignations that you were referring to. But basically, I am focused on the work. I always have been since I've been here. I've tried to work very hard, do a great job. I am here to work for the residents, businesses, and of the city of North Canton, as well as the staff that works here. So I'm going on to my reports then, off of that. The building department move is what I want to give a report on. We're about 90% complete with that. We are in the final stages, so next week, the building department will be closed on December 5th. We've made a public announcement about that. We will take limited inspections on the 6th, but just so people know if they do need to get a permit, they need to do that prior to December 5th. Of course, if there's anything that's emergency, you can always contact the chief building official and leave a message. Moving to the next phase, we'll be moving the engineering department up to locate at City Hall, and that phase will be beginning on December 16th. So that's really all I have to say. Hope everybody has a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Catherine. Director of Administration.
Just one item, make council aware. So on November 30th, that's a Saturday, at the stroke of midnight, which would turn into Sunday. I always get them mixed up, so I'm painstakingly describing it. The mayor-elect will be sworn in at City Hall at the stroke of midnight. So if you want to come down Saturday at 11:30 p.m., City Hall, we will be there. And Judge Falvey will swear in the mayor-elect at the stroke of midnight in City Hall. So
11:59?
at the stroke of midnight.
Is that
down
like
there,
a new
not
thing?
11:59.
I never heard of that.
Yeah. And so when we have our organizational meeting, the mayor-elect will have been sworn in, but we'll go through the procedure for whenever that is. So just want to make you aware that if you'd like to attend, you may.
Will you send a reminder out?
Yeah, we'll do that for you now. All right, Mayor, this is your last report.
This is my last report.
Make it a
and
good
I
one.
still have to borrow a microphone. The microphone was cut off last week. A little prematurely here, huh? I know it wasn't
Get
intentional.
down to it or it'll get cut.
Get down to it, right? Get down to it. As Dominic says, get down to it or get it cut again. You know, it really has been, it's been 14 years. I served 2 years as a little over 2 years as the administrator, and then came in and served 14 years as the mayor. And, when you look back on it, it's like, wow, time goes by really quick. And, first off, I want to congratulate Mayor-elect Wilder. He's not here, but he really ran a heck of a campaign. I mean, it was a really strong campaign. He did a great job. His team did a great job. It was really very impressive. And, there's always a time for everything. There's a time when you win, there's a time when you lose. But I think what really has, what I've always tried to focus on is that all of us are here for a short period of time, in these offices. When I first got sworn in as mayor, I got to say that was the greatest day out of all 14 years, the very first day. Because then after that, you realize the immense responsibility that goes along with it. And there was just a lot of great things that happened in the city. We got a great community, we got great staff, and we even have great critics, Chuck. I mean, my God, 17 years. I don't know what I'm going to do on Monday night. I'm going to miss you. I mean, the good thing is Chuck, you could always count on him, to bring up issues of concerns. And, we've always looked at it like embrace it. You don't have to agree with it, but if there's elements that need to be changed or corrected, correct it. But I think, what I feel very good about is that everybody in this room clearly strived for what's best for the community. I mean, I can say that everybody in this room, without a doubt, did not put their personal needs or their personal agendas first. And I think that's what allowed us to get so much done. I mean, we really went through a lot of challenges. We overcame them, but it's because you got great people like yourselves. And it's not an easy thing sometimes. You got to stand up and take criticism publicly, but that's like going into a boxing match and win or lose expecting not to get punched in the face. I mean, it's just a part of it, And so, again, we've got a great city. We've got a great community. And there's a lot of great things that we can look forward to in the future. But it really has been it's been fantastic working with all of you. And the other thing that I've learned too is sometimes, you can have complete disagreements with, with your colleague, and look at Pat and I mean, God, that's an example. He and I did not like each other very much when we first started working as a council member, and now we're good buddies, right? And even Daryl too. We were leaving as good buddies. Can you believe that? They set me right next to him. So with that, I do thank everybody here. Commissioner Bill Smith, thanks for coming to our meeting tonight. You're doing a great job as a commissioner, and I appreciate all of you. And I know we got a great city, and we got a lot of good things to look forward to, a lot of great things to look forward to. So thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for 14 years.
Follow that.
Member Revolt, can you follow that up?
Not that brief.
We are going to say goodbye to Laura and Marcia and Dave tonight. And I think each has made, and I look back over the course of a lot of years, each has made contributions large and small to the well-being of this community. And I think sometimes in the hurly-burly of public life, we don't often say thank you. And I think I can speak for a whole lot of our citizens who thank each of you for your unique contributions to this body, whether it's the preparation of the budget, leadership of certain issues, or crafting some legislation that benefits the community. So I would say thank you. The only other thing I would say is this, is that life has a funny way of circling back. And even though I'm getting older, I look forward to an opportunity perhaps again serving with each of you. So thank you.
Thank you, Daryl. Member Fonte.
Boy, a lot of nice things said tonight. It's funny, before I got appointed, I know Chuck beat me to death. If you Google my name, you'll still find it. Osborne rips council over choice of Batista, Fonte over Batista. I don't know if you guys remember that. And I didn't even know Chuck at the time. And I said, Chuck, how could you do that to me? You don't even know who I am. You don't know anything about me. He does now. And Chuck and I get along great. And he's a great guy, and he's a good critic. And there's a lot of people out there that are trying to keep our feet to the fire. But the funny thing is, when I was on that side of the room, coming to the meetings, listening, I was so frustrated because I thought, what are you people doing? I'd hear these things, and I'd think, are you guys really doing anything, or should you all be thrown out? And I even said this before. But the interesting thing is, once you're in the arena, so we're all in the arena, and until you get in the arena, you really don't know. And the thing that's interesting is, you have to understand when you're in the arena fighting the fight, you do the best you can. We're not perfect, but everybody, even Kathy, like when we had conversations, you've done a very fine job. And I know it's awkward to be put on the spot like that. Laura, she's awesome over there. I hate to see her go because she's awesome. But the mayor, on the other hand, I think he's ready, right? Right, Dave?
I'm ready.
But I'm just saying, Dave, you fought a good fight, and I've been in the arena with you for many different fights, and, you'll be greatly missed, and you're leaving the city better off than you found it, and I think that's great for Steve. He's going to step into a really nice situation with Patrick and Kathy and the team that we have built and the arena we're fighting in, and we're going to continue to fight the good fight so that we can create this better community for our citizens, our families, our loved ones, and people sometimes that aren't so pleasant, that they're going to be in a community they love to live, work, and play, and we're improving the atmosphere every single day. And I'm going to do a better job communicating that from the arena out so people really know what's going on. And I think that's part of what the problem is, and I think that was shown in the election, that we didn't do a good enough job communicating, because if the people think we're not doing a good job, then obviously there's a breakdown in communication. So that's my honest opinion since I'm in the arena now. That's all I have to say. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Thank you, Dominic. Director of Law.
Yes. Last week I had the opportunity for a couple days to work with some folks from nearby communities, Canton, Plain Township, Jackson, even Mogador. And some of them didn't know what I did as the law director, and once I had told them, they asked a bit about what that role involves, and then one, kiddingly, had said that that position must be pretty easy because there are no controversies in North Canton. And so we had a little bit of laugh with that, and I said that it perhaps does appear that things move smoothly. And the result of that is through a lot of preparation. The reason the New England Patriots do so well is through all of those reps and through all of that preparation. And so I said there is quite a bit that's done behind the scenes so that it does appear that it moves smoothly. Everything from the clerk preparing the agenda for all of the members here, for setting up for City Hall, for administration to go through this total rework of this room with all of the electronics and the up-to-date equipment so that we have right at our fingertips and in view. There was a lot of work that went into this. There was a lot of frustration, there was a lot of griping, so that when we opened the doors, as best as we could, everything appeared to move smoothly. And so, with that, I want to thank and recognize, departing Mayor Held and Member Kiesling, and thank them for their support, guidance, and leadership while I was here. And of course, to welcome Mayor-elect Wilder and Member Stroya. And certainly welcome them and let them know that yes, again, it does appear that it goes quite smoothly, but once you look behind that curtain and you see the wizard moving all the knobs and the buttons and the switches and all those things, that's all of us trying to put it all together so that it certainly does have the appearance that we follow all the guidelines and the rules so that that outward appearance states something about our community. Our community does well. People are proud to talk about North Canton. In fact, they even fussed with me a little bit about, jokingly, you guys think you're so much. And I said, well, you guys, kidding back, that you think we're so much. And then they resigningly had said, yes, we do. We wish we had at least the appearance of what we have here in North Canton. So thank you both again for working with me when I started. I looked to each of you a number of times for guidance and always came away with the right answer. So thank you both, and I wish you both the very best.
Very good. Thank you, Tim.
Okay. Just a couple housekeeping measures first. We have an interim payroll clerk right now, Emily Winter. She has been training for the last couple of days under Deputy Finance Director Novelli. It's coming along well, and I think she's going to be ready to hit the ground running. And as far as the interim Finance Director, Margie Loretto has accepted our invitation to come back and to help us in the transition period. So Marge will be in the office tomorrow, sitting down with Laura, talking about the transition. I've served 14, 15 years, Dave and Marcia both. Daryl said it the best. It has truly been an honor and a pleasure serving with both of you. You served with honor and class, and I'm really going to miss you, but you have left the city in good hands for both Mayor-elect Wilder and Matt Stroya to hit the ground running. So I thank you for your service. As far as we do not have legislation requests for the committee of the whole meeting for the second yet. It is forthcoming. So I'm going to ask council, and Matt, you can raise your hand. Is everybody available Tuesday evening or afternoon? Is there anyone that's not going to be available on Tuesday? And here's why I say this. There is a recount for the Ward 2 race. I spoke with the Board of Elections today. They could not guarantee that they could certify that by Monday evening. So if everyone is available on the 3rd, that would be Tuesday, we could pick the time. I would ask that we move the meeting, the committee meeting, to that Tuesday. And as well, I've spoken to Director DiOrio to reach out to Mayor-elect Wilder and ask that he schedule the organizational meeting for that day as well. One of the other things that was brought up to me before making this announcement was we need to make sure that Judge Falvey is available for that Tuesday as well. So, Patrick, have you had a chance to speak to Mayor-elect Wilder yet?
No, I have not yet, but let's keep in mind that the current date is set by the existing mayor, David Held, by charter. He set that date. Mayor,
You busy the day after?
Mayor-elect Wilder will not be mayor until December 1st, at the stroke of midnight.
So we can set that tonight then.
Are we thinking 7 o'clock?
I think your question is, will Mayor Wilder be available
Yeah.
Tuesday, December 3rd, to conduct the organizational meeting?
And keep in mind that there were other plans associated with that have been widely circulated as far as a 6 o'clock welcoming
Correct.
reception.
Are we going to get a reminder or something in writing with all the holidays and stuff, just so we get it all right?
And we have to actually do that with, the agenda will go out tomorrow
Yes.
because of the Thursday, Friday, Thanksgiving, and day after Black Friday. So we
It
have
could
to
go out.
get that out.
It could go out Wednesday.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah. All right, so Mayor Held, you are flexible. Patrick, would it be, do you think it would be amendable to Mayor-elect Wilder to reschedule that? And could he do the reception prior?
Here, if you want, this is, I guess my last executive decision here. So by charter, as Patrick was saying, it's, the mayor sets the organizational meeting, which I am okay, whatever day and time you folks want to have it. I will not be in attendance there. The new mayor will kick off the meeting. But you can have it December 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. And so, what did we have it set for? December 2nd.
Correct.
And so if there's another date that works with you guys, that's okay, but it's got to be the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd.
Yeah.
And
Can we,
The third works, and more importantly, the third works for the Board of Elections. They could not guarantee that they would have it
Okay.
certified by Monday evening.
So then what we could do is, Tim, he's our law director, right? We'll send out another memo saying that, the organizational meeting will be December 3rd, right?
Okay. All right, that works for me. Now, what I need is a motion and a second from council. Well, first, Matthew, you're good? Okay, thank you. I need a motion.
Yes, Daryl. I was there, I didn't talk to Jeff, I talked to Travis Seacrest. That was at about 1 o'clock, right before I talked to you. Has it changed?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But Jeff told me that we will certify at 4.
Why don't we
Okay.
keep it Tuesday then, or the second?
We'll just do it Monday.
So I think what you might want to do before you reissue, just verify that 4 o'clock on Monday still stands. And of course, certification following is always contingent upon the filing of one's finance report.
Right.
Did everybody do that?
I've done mine. Okay, let's do that. We have a couple of days. All right, so let's hold off on that. If we have to change it, we can do it via email. I'd need 4 responses. And then I'll reach out to Mayor if we do have to do that. Okay, thank you, Daryl. I didn't know you talked to Jeff this afternoon, so, okay. All right. That's it for me. Member Foltz.
Thank you. A lot of good comments tonight, well-deserved. Dave, you've done a great job being mayor of North Canton. Appreciate your efforts, our friendship. And sometimes you develop friendships through politics, and that's the bonus of serving your community. Because it's not easy to serve your community. Nobody up here is for the salary. No one's up here, obviously there's no benefits. But you're up here for your love of your community and wanting to make a difference. So I always applaud people that want to run and those that serve. And you're right, Dominic, until you sit in chair, you really don't know what it's about to be a council member.
We call it the arena.
Or a mayor. So, Dave, I want to thank you for that. Marcia, thank you for your years of service. Seen a lot in my 24 years. Laura, I want to thank you for your service. I think you've been the best finance director we've ever had.
Amen.
I appreciate that. And I think Marge is right there also, but thanks to her for helping us out. So I wish you well in your future endeavors. Same with Marcia and Dave. And Dave, the beautiful thing about you is you can have your own council meeting with your impressions on YouTube or an iPod.
Can you do
so
it?
That's right.
there might be a vehicle, not just us, but some of the members that come up and speak. So I know you have me down.
Dave,
So
can we ask Dave to do a couple?
Maybe later.
Maybe later.
maybe a different
Just you,
time.
Dominic. We'll do that later.
As your attorney, I recommend.
Okay, we'll do it after hours.
Yeah, so thanks everybody for making us a better North Canton by serving us. Appreciate your efforts. That's it, Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Warren.
Yes. So one of my favorite quotes is "The Man in the Arena" by Teddy Roosevelt. And we kind of came upon it when my husband ran a number of years ago, and it wasn't the results that we wanted. And then my kids at the academy, they all had to memorize it for that summer. And if they didn't memorize it, kind of any sentence, they had to do, I think, hundreds of sit-ups or push-ups or something. But I've used it in so many instances, so I just want to read it really quickly, because anytime I can do this. And I also love Brené Brown, and she uses it a ton too, and it really talks about being in the arena and kind of sitting up here and what it means. So it's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, which all of you are, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, and we do, who comes short again and again, and we do, because there's no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasm, the greatest devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. And I think that says so much about all of us. I mean, Kathy, you went through that last week. We all do it. We all get our faces marred and sweat, and then we come out better. I swear we become out more resilient, and we come out with more empathy, and we're humbled by that. And I actually feel like a lot of the people who sit across from us, they are in the arena with us. They actually come to the meetings, They get up on the stand, they say their name, and they ask us questions. We can't always answer them, and they may not always like our answers, but I think that they're here in the arena, and I give credit to those that do that. Dave, you take the same battles up and down, and for these many years, it really has been a pleasure working with you. And I will miss our candor and our dialogue, and I'm sure we'll have it with the new mayor. But it's a special relationship. When you talk about the friendships, that's what this is. And Marcia said that night. And Marcia and I have been friends since we both went to McKinley, and so that was 30-plus years ago. And she was the one that recruited me. And I will miss her candor. I purposely moved my seat. Pat tried to move me from her, and I wouldn't let it happen. We are deep friends, and I will miss that. I know her husband well. I've known all her kids, and we all know that about each other. And Marcia is the person that says the things that no one else kind of wants to say. And you don't even have to nudge her to say them. She knows when to say them, how to say them. She remains calm and cool. She's so smart. She's done amazing things at Altman and for this community. And not just for here, but for the school as well. And she's raised 3 amazing kids. So she's got it all together. So I will, not gonna look at her. So I will miss her. I will miss her greatly. And Laura, I've only known you now for 3 years, but thank you for serving with us, and thank you for pointing out things that we need to see and maybe aren't aware of. None of us are finance majors up here. None of us have your skill set, and you recognize that, especially with working with me. And I've read a lot of budgets, but you did an amazing job, and you just kind of got it all together. Your staff loved working with you, and I know you will be missed with them. And Laura and I would have some meals together, and I would throw some of my strengths terminology at her, and Laura has a very strong belief system, and I appreciate that. Not many, I don't know, Laura, if your generation, I don't know which generation, kind of on that millennial generation.
I'm on the border.
You are on the border, and you don't have as many millennials falling under that, and I give you a lot of respect for seeing that. And kind of, Kathy, like you said, we can choose to work or not work in environments. I mean, that's the beauty with our country. And so I wish you well in all your endeavors, but thank you for your service and helping us all get on track. We'll be missed.
Well said, Steph.
Thank you.
Well said.
Let me go before.
Well said.
Member Keesling.
I'm going to go before her, so she can answer all my questions. All of you are just really good people, all the way around. You know, we deal with people, all of our jobs, all of our life, and you guys are all really good people. And Dave, I'll start with you, because you've led the city through so many hard times, probably the hardest time in the entire history that I'm aware of, and I've been here all my life, and you came out, and things are better as we move forward. So thank you for that, and you know, I've learned a lot working with you, and the things, what he does best is when he talks to us, he's probably the most communicational mayor I've ever seen, because he's calling us all the time. Definitely my phone bill, I don't get my minutes on my phone bill will cut in half for sure. Yeah. Because you do keep us informed about a lot of things, and that is so vital to knowing what's going on. So I personally learned so much from all of you, actually, and you know, you should be very proud. And sometimes when you do the right things and your heart is so big into the city, sometimes you don't, everybody doesn't agree with that, and sometimes you make enemies with that, but that's the job of a leader many times. And I've said it before, you know, every coach can't be the favorite person. And you have really led us through a lot of touchdowns. So I want to thank you for your service. I've been here all my life. A lot of good people say a lot of good things, and we've done gone a lot of good places with this city because of you. So thank you so much for that too. And then Marcia, I think it was mentioned, probably the most competitive person I've ever met. And I know why your kids are that way too. I mean, you can always count on like Steph said, that when things got a little bit quiet, you would say the right thing at the right time. Not always in the right way, but it meant the best way. It meant it in the right kind of thing here. So I've been learned a lot from you too, and I think you are right into the same ballpark as Dave. You've been here a long time and has carried this city through a lot of different times. So thank you very much for that. And Laura, I think it's been said here, best finance director I've ever seen. I've not been here that long, but you know, you came into a time when it was a lot of confusion. You made things, you know, you put things in a progressive state where they are strong right now, and So I want to thank you on behalf of the entire city for that, because people didn't know where this place was. Again, perception is not reality, and there was a time when the finance department was nowhere near where it is today, and you put it that way, so we are very proud of you, and you should be proud going forward. But for all of you, I think God has a better place for you all. Dave, you're limitless. Wherever you go, whatever you decide to do, people are going to laugh, and you're going to be a leader. So I think it's great. And Marshall, you got so much responsibility. You got a job going forward with Altman that's going to give you so much responsibility to help so many people in the future. And then Laura, again, limitless of what you decide to do with finances. So again, I think there's a better direction for all of you. And that's the way it works a lot of times when people change jobs and so on. So I would just miss you all. But God bless you all, and have a nice holiday and everything. So
Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to leave with Laura. I've been around since 2001, and I think you're my 5th finance director. And with the exception of Marge, who was just there for a few months at the beginning of my term, you are far and above the best one we've ever had. Came in, took the ball running, and just really led us in a great direction. Kept us all organized. It's just been really nice to have everything so prepared and easy for us to understand. You're just great, and the city's really going to miss you. I'm sorry you're leaving. Dave. So Dave and I met when he was interviewing to be the administrator. Remember that, Doug? And I actually didn't realize I knew his wife, but she put my epidural in my back when I had my first baby. So I'm sitting there talking to him thinking, God, I know that name. God, I know that name. I'm like, oh my God, you're Sharon's husband. Like, are you kidding me? And you want to be the administrator, and you did what before this? And I grilled him really hard. And in the end, he became our administrator. And now, of course, our mayor. So Dave and I have been through the thick and thin from day one. And the best way I can sum it up is you feel like more like a brother. Because we would fight like cats and dogs. Oh, I remember several out in the parking lot. Because we were so passionate, and we had been all these years. I was appointed way back in 2001, and my baby was 6 months old. And she's a freshman in college, which is crazy. So this is all she knows, which is amazing. I've seen Jeff have all of his freaking kids. And you just are like, wow. And that was the hardest part of losing. I'm okay with not being here every Monday night, believe it or not. I'm gonna miss the friendships because you guys are all my friends, every single one of you. You got me through some hard times over the last few years. And this was my constant. This was good for me. And I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody out there. You've been here for many years as well with me. It's been a great run. I don't think I'm coming back. My signs are in the top of the garage. I told my kids I'll probably throw them out when I die, but they'll sit up there just in case. But that's where they'll sit. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Marcia.
Thank you, Marcia.
Laura?
Thank you. I want to thank all of council for their nice comments this evening and the opportunity to serve the community, serve the residents, serve the employees. I want to thank each and every one of the council members for teaching me something. I think as we've all interacted over the past 3 years, I've learned something from each and every one of you. I also want to thank a couple people that aren't here tonight. One is all the people that came before me that were running the finances of the city, be it the directors or the council or the mayor. There were good choices made, and the city was in a good financial position, and that made my job a lot easier, and hopefully it can continue on that way. I want to thank the finance staff because they have my back every single day. Hopefully I have theirs, and they are a great group of people. Couldn't ask for a better crew. And then I want to thank all the city's department heads because every single one of them have taken time with me to teach me something about the operations of their departments, which just make the budget better, the numbers better, and help us all work together. So thank you again for the opportunity. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Laura. You guys will all be missed.
Wow.
Okay. Final call for new business? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.